Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I want to jump right into it. We're going to talk about squats today. So basically, squats are one of those exercises that there's just so many questions about. Everyone constantly is firing me questions saying all these different things. Squats versus deadlifts. Should I be wearing these kind of shoes or these kind of shoes? Should I be wearing shoes at all? What are squats for? Am I doing them right? Are my feet too far apart? Are, all these different things. So I've put together a list of the 8 most common questions that I receive personally, and I'm going to break them down for you here. So starting from the beginning, what muscles do the squats work? To really be super basic with it, squats are predominantly for your glutes. Anyone that tells you that squats are predominantly for your quads, please don't listen to them anymore. Squats are a glute exercise. I know a lot of people out there try and tell other people that they use their squats to work their quads, but listen to me. This is not a quad exercise. This is a glute exercise. It's designed for the glutes. Ask any powerlifter, bodybuilder, anybody, any personal trainer. It's a glute exercise. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can do squats to target different parts of the muscle. You are obviously going to hit different muscles as well as the glute. It's a multifaceted movement. It's not a simple bicep curl where you're only using one muscle. Being a compound movement, which for those of you who don't know, compound movements are movements that involve more than one muscle. Being a compound movement means that there are a lot of variables. So whether you have your feet closer together or further apart, that kind of thing. So we are going to touch on some of that. I won't go into too much detail until we can get it on the floor and really break down how each individual variation will work. But for now, that's all you need to know. If you're trying to work your glutes, squats are number one. Okay, so the second question is, how should you incorporate squats into your workout? This is very important. If squats can be, although one of the best possible exercises that you can ever do, it can also be one of the more dangerous if they're not done correctly or if they're done at the wrong time. So to give you an example, if you went and did a full ab workout and then did a lower back workout and then did a full leg workout and then decided to go do squats, your squats are not only going to be terrible, but you're going to be at a super high risk of hurting yourself. Squats, because they're a compound movement, which we just talked about, is movements that use more than one muscle group. Because it's a compound movement, it's important to do it at or near the beginning of your workout. So if it's leg day and you're doing squats that day, do your squats first. Don't wait until the end. Always do those big muscle groups first. Compound movements, you got more than one muscle, so obviously it's going to be the biggest. You want that at the front. Now, the next question that's super common is, how far apart should your feet be? This is a very complicated question, or a complicated answer for a very simple question. How far your feet should be apart? There's no answer unless I know you. Basically, what happens is your body is going to be different from the next person's body. Not everyone was built the same. So I wish I had a skeleton here I could show you, but basically the femur runs straight up and down. The femur is the large bone in your upper leg. So the joint that comes off of this bone, for some people, it comes up at a 45-degree angle. For other people, it'll come off at a 90-degree angle. So if your upper leg bone is coming off at a different angle than the next person's, do you really think that I can sit here and tell you that you should have yours one way and they should have theirs the exact same way? Of course not. It doesn't make any sense. The best judge for you just right now by camera without me seeing you in person is close your eyes, hop up and down. Wherever you land naturally, wherever your feet land, that's where you should be doing your squats. Obviously, you want your feet to be even. So if you have one foot turned out and the other not, then that's something that I would personally try and work on with my clients to try and make sure everything's even before I even start doing squats. So yes, you can use that to tell if you're ready or not to be doing squats, but just to keep it simple, if you're wondering if you should be further apart or closer together, the basic answer is take that quick jump up and down, see where you land, and go from there. Obviously, if you want to work narrower or wider, or narrower or wider on your glute or on your hamstrings, you can change the positioning of your feet to accomplish that. This isn't intended as a video toward bodybuilders who may be targeting certain areas of their quads or their hamstrings or their glutes or whatever. This is just for people that have basic questions about squats and where they're trying to target. The next question is, should your heels be elevated? This particular question gives me headaches all day, every day. I mean, every single day I go into the gym and you see someone with their heels up on a plate. So their heels are up on an incline and they've got a plate underneath it like this. This drives me crazy. If you do this, this is intentionally transferring all the weight up onto your quads. If you stand still, come up on your toes, and try and go into a squat, I guarantee you're going to feel it in your quads. You feel free to try it right now. Now, I mean, for women, they wear high heels. If they try and squat, they're going to feel it only in their quads. You're basically strapping on a pair of high heels and trying to do squats. This makes no sense whatsoever. People do it because their glutes aren't strong enough and they find themselves falling backward. They use this as a crutch to be able to lift heavy weight when they're not ready for it. They're using all the wrong muscles. They're creating a massive imbalance by putting all the strength into their quads and no strength into their glutes, because their glutes just aren't firing. They've never learned how to fire them properly. So the basic answer is yes, please never, never, never put weights underneath your heels to do squats. What this also is going to lead me into is the kind of footwear you're wearing. If you ever watch anyone who is a competitive lifter or a bodybuilder or anybody like that, any good personal trainers, when they're doing squats, they're either wearing super flat shoes. By flat, I mean the drop from the heel down to the toe is zero. I'll see a lot of people lifting in either lifting shoes, which are now readily available, or even the old Converse ones, or a lot of people will go barefoot. Obviously, barefoot or socked, there's a lot less stability, and a lot of people really want and need that stability. But if it's a choice between wearing running shoes, which have anywhere from a 4 millimeter to like a 10 millimeter drop, then I definitely recommend taking your shoes off and just do them in your socks. If you have the ability to train in something that's flat, those are perfect. You really want to be on as flat of a surface as possible when doing your squats if you want to hit your glutes, which is the whole purpose behind the exercise. The next question is squats versus deadlifts. So the question is basically, aren't squats and deadlifts the same thing? The answer is no. Deadlifts are also a compound movement, but they're using completely different muscles for the most part than your squats are. There's going to be a lot of back work in your deadlift workouts, so I think deadlifts are hugely important, maybe even more so than your squats. That's up for debate. We won't get into that today, but just remember, if you're doing one or the other, that doesn't cover both. So you really need to train both exercises. What I personally like to do in my own workouts is on my leg days, I'll rotate. One day I'll do deadlifts, one day I'll do squats. I would never do them back-to-back days. I don't even like I do each of them once a week. So I get 2 leg workouts in a week. One of them I do deadlifts, the other one I do squats. In my deadlift workout, if I do squats, it would be different types of squats, like very light squats or sumo squats or anything like that. Maybe like, I don't know. You can use your imagination. There's 100 different types of squats out there. Okay, so next question. Why do I have to do squats? We've already kind of touched on it. Squats are huge. I mean, anything where you're hitting super functional movements like a squat, it's going to be good for everything. It's helping you in your everyday life. Anything that can contribute to your everyday life is going to be fantastic. I know a lot of trainers out there are huge, just biceps, rows, bench press. That's it. That's all they do. And it's all about straight lines for them. A squat is super important. I mean, technically, if you're doing a squat, the bar is going straight up and down. But these multifaceted movements are huge. This is how you live your life. Most people's lives don't revolve around, pulling in a straight line. Real life involves twisting. Real life involves squatting down. You need these exercises to keep you strong through everyday life. Most of you watching this video aren't powerlifters and bodybuilders. If you are, we will be touching on some of that stuff. But for the general audience, squats are super important just because they're functional. This is something that is going to make you stronger in every other aspect of your workouts and every other aspect of your life. So if I want to add to that and really stretch it out even more, if you're trying to do weight loss, you're obviously going to be burning a lot more calories. Squats burn a ton of calories. Yeah, they work the glutes, but they work so many other muscles as well that you're also burning calories there as well. So keep that in mind when you're designing your workouts. Don't avoid your squats. They're super important. They should be at the top of the list in terms of what you're trying to accomplish at the gym. Okay, so only two more here. The second last one is, should I wear a belt when I'm doing squats? Now, you'll see a lot of people at the gym, usually guys lifting way too much, and they're wearing a weight belt and with the massive grunting. I'm sure we've all seen that person at the gym. I'm not going to say weight belts are bad for you. They have their place, but for 99% of the population, that place does not exist. Weight belts are a massive crutch. I never use them personally. I'm a firm believer that weight belts should only be used if you're going above and beyond your threshold, which most people shouldn't be, especially in a squat. Basically, what I would say is, if you're going to use a weight belt, warm up without it. Do all your sets up until you are right at that point where you're getting to your max, and then put the weight belt on and push through your max. The reason behind this is you really need that weight belt to help support and brace you. So the bracing is fantastic. You basically should be able to do your maximum without the belt, and then when you have the belt on, you're just safer, and it's increasing your confidence and increasing your stability. If you can't do it without the belt and you need the belt to do it, you shouldn't be using the belt. Most people that are using belts are using it as more as a safety thing, but you don't want to rely on it. Like any crutch, you don't want to wear a brace all the time, or else the muscles that should be helping you aren't getting strengthened, and that's your weakness. That's what you need to be strengthening. So yes, they have their place, but for 99.9% of the population, you don't need it. And you really shouldn't be wearing it, because you're probably doing yourself more harm than good, unless you're being guided by a professional. If your trainer or somebody you really trust is telling you that it's important, then maybe it is. But even then, I would be super skeptical. Most people just don't need it. All right, and finally, the last question for today is, how far down should you go in your squat? So for this one, I'm going to go right back to the earlier question where we talked about the femur and how the joint runs off of the femur. Everybody's different. Some people are going to have the flexibility to go all the way down and get right down into a super deep squat, and other people aren't. If you don't have that flexibility yet and you try and go all the way down, you're going to hurt yourself, or you're going to lose the activation in your glute. If you're not activating the glute, who cares if you're going down all the way? Obviously, that's the goal. But if you lose the contraction on the glute halfway through your movement, then it's pointless. So again, obviously, I would recommend getting a professional to help you with this and really guide you through the movement to make sure you're doing it properly. But if you're doing it on your own, just make sure that you're going down to a point where you still are able to hold that contraction at the bottom and then squeeze the contraction on the way up. All right. Well, thank you that's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate all your guys' views, all your comments. The more activity we can get on this channel, the more videos we can do. We will be keeping up with them daily for now. I tried to make this one a little bit shorter today, but just so many questions that I want to make sure we got through everything. So again, if there's anybody in the GTA that wants to come in and see me, I'm going to post the phone number at the end of this. You can call or text. It'll just be at the end, so just pause the video at the closing screen, and you can give us a shout, and we'll get you in for an appointment as soon as possible. All right, guys, have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.